competition is healthy. In my standpoint, it can be healthy, and it should be. You're going to gain something from competition. Compete with yourself, compete with others, but put yourself in a situation to grow. Understand when you compete with somebody, it's going to bring out your strengths and your weaknesses. You're going to automatically find out what you're good at and what you're bad at. And then that puts you in a situation to be able to go out and be better. And again, once you competition, you build a habit, and that goes with you everywhere. Because everywhere part of life, there's going to be a skill. Somebody's going to be winning a skill. If it's at job, if it's at home, somebody's going to be winning. You have expectations on you to do things, and they're going to be able to review you on how you do it. And I think competition allows you to do everything you do at the best of your ability. Welcome world, welcome family to another episode of the EL2A Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Gilmore Jr. To the right of me, we got Mr. Military Man, Mr. Miles McConnell. How you feeling today, brother?
Feeling pretty good.
Good. To the right of him, we got the highest of 7 hills, Mr. FAMU, Mr. Eddie Rocker. How you feeling today, brother?
Feeling pretty good, my man.
I love it. Hey, man, we already in April. It's going fast. Man, we've been putting out some great podcasts. I hope y'all been tapping in, liking, subscribing, and commenting, man. We're coming off 2 of our one, I ain't gonna say best. I don't want to make nobody feel bad, but they're 2 of our best podcasts. They are Miss Tammy Robinson. She dropped a wealth of knowledge, man. She gave so much game, and then we also follow up with her with Mr. Big Lee, Mr. Rashad Jones. Between those 2 podcasts, if you just take time to dissect those 2 podcasts, you'll be set free. All right, so let me say that again. If you just take time to dissect those 2 podcasts, you will be set free. There was so much game given into them, and it's up to you. It's here for you. It's up to you on the EL2A Podcast, all right? So today, we're going to get into it today. One thing we got going on in the world, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what's going on. If you're not, I'm going to fill you in a little bit. All right, so in the rap world, I know some people watching this. You know, we got all types of fans and viewers that watch this podcast. From country music, we just had Chris McNeil on the podcast, pop, R&B, whatever you like. But we're going to focus on the rap scene right now. So we got the Kendrick Lamars of the world, we got the Drakes of the world, and we got the J. Cole's of the world. They're in a rap battle, whatever you want to call it, when these 2 are going at them. Kendrick Lamar put out I guess what someone would call a diss record, and he started talking about the other 2. They call themselves the Big 3. He said it ain't no Big 3, it's just Big Me. All right, so what this makes me think about is makes me think about competition. I love competition. I live off competition because I think competition gets the best out of everybody. A lot of people look at competition differently, and I want to kind of dissect really what competition is. In the same facet, in the same conversation, Kendrick Lamar put out a diss, and everybody else is speculating, okay, what is Drake and J. Cole about to do? After the situation, waiting time went by, and then J. Cole ended up dropping a diss album or diss record, whatever you want to say, back to Kendrick Lamar, which I thought was pretty fire. I listened to it. I thought the album was cool. Competition. I think that competition, Kendrick Lamar doing that, bred that in him to go put his pen to paper and create the music he created. If he never would have challenged him, we never would have got that. But then J. Cole went back against what he put out and said he apologizes out of character. So I had a lot of mixed feelings about that. So I had to bring it to the team. Well, I guess when he went back, he said that ain't him. That ain't the space he in. I took that as it in a competitive state. That's just not what we do. Rap is just like sports to me. It's competitive. It's team versus team. It ain't everybody can't be the best. I think you should be fighting to be the best at everything you do. And again, competition doesn't have to be something violent. It can be friendly. So in the competition between those 2, I don't think it would have got violent. So it was a good competition. I want to pick y'all brains. When you think about competition, what is competition to you? Do you think competition is a good thing, or do you think competition is a bad thing? I'll throw it in, Brother Miles.
It depends. Sometimes it can be, out of a spirit of genuineness, just like you saying to uplift the other one, to push the other person to be the best version of themselves. But sometimes people can be competitive with a negative spirit, and it's to defame or to knock down somebody else, basically to use someone else's destruction to amplify, their message or their platform. So if it's in that context, I would say it's a bad thing. But if it's to just push one another, then nah, it's fine. And it should be had in, friend groups if, like I said, if it's positive, if it's to say, okay, hey man, look, I'm gonna get all A's this time. Speaking down to the level to like our boys, like, oh, I'm gonna get all A's this time. And then another one like, nah, I'm gonna get that. I actually did that incentive at one of the schools. I made that incentive and said, hey, look, if all y'all get A's and B's, right, I'm gonna give all y'all $10. But whoever gets the highest cumulative grade, I'm gonna give you something specific. I'm gonna give you, but it's based on that level of who wants it more. And you had some of the individuals, some of the boys was like, I already know he gonna win it. I got onto him by that. I'm like, how you know? He ain't ready yet. We ain't got to the report card yet, but you already saying you losing. So in that sense, competition is a good thing. It's to push them to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah. And even to your point, so when you're speaking about, I guess when you're competing to put someone down, I guess because that makes me, again, everything go back to sports to me, but it also makes me think about, so when we thinking about in corporate America, when you think about these fast food chains and how they go at each other through marketing and through different campaigns, through commercials. So they are putting the other one down. They may say, if it's a McDonald's and Burger King, they'll talk about each other, talk about the king, just different things. So in that same facet of what you just said, they are putting that person down. So with that idea, what you're thinking about that. So again, you do have someone else putting another person down for their gain. Do you think that's unhealthy?
Well, in that example, I mean, the fast food line is always going to be packed. So I don't really think they care too much. More so it's just jabs at each other. But on a more individual level, if you're gossiping, if you're trying to do something manipulative to strategically take somebody down, then yeah, that's what good come out of that. You know what I mean? Because then you're stepping beyond a normal, I guess, way of being competitive. Like you're being malicious at that point. So I don't think any good can really come out of that in the whole sense. But for the example you use with the fast food joints, I mean, that's just like good little banter between multi-billion-dollar corporations. They're going to be okay at the end of the day.
Yeah, and what I was getting, I brought that up because I think it's all about perspectives, how we look at things. So a lot of people, when they do, for the most part, I think a lot of people do look at competition as a bad thing, especially in the space we're in. And it could easily be, we could easily say, okay, this person is trying to, again, put this person down. But that's, in a sense, that's what competition is. It's like you're competing to win, all right? And anytime, and again, so when you're trying to, well, you don't have to put somebody down, but in the most part of the time, you're putting somebody down because, again, football, you're trying to, like, not harm somebody, but trying to get past the defender. You're just doing something to get to where you're trying to go, and usually somebody has to lose in that situation. So it makes me think about, I think it's more so a perspective thing of how we're looking at competition, because you have a part of the world that's looking at this Kendrick Lamar situation, especially with J. Cole stepping up there and saying, basically backing out of a battle. So you're in a heated battle, and one send a shot, you send a shot, and then you just wave a white flag and say, I shouldn't have did this. You get what I'm saying? I think that takes away the essence of what competition really is. It's like when we in it, we in it. Ain't no retreat. You're Army man, brother. You get what I'm saying? When y'all go out there, it's a competition. We're trying to win. Again, so in the Army sense, you ain't going over there to make no friendly. You get what I'm saying? It ain't no friendly situation.
That's a different context because, like, in that sense now, that is quite literally life and death. You know what I mean? So there can't be any niceties, about that. I think I haven't heard the J. Cole song. I'm behind time, so I've heard what's going on, but I haven't like delved deep into it. But for what I do know about J. Cole, is kind of his image to be a conscious rapper, somebody that's elevated in thinking and the way that he moves. So I can see how get into a beef, and he's an artist that constantly talks against beef and other songs, how it can be a conflicting image there. So I can see why he would bow out of that, I guess, for an image sake. But I mean, if it's really just to really push each other to make the best, album or, content, then I don't really see any problem with it. But I can see for him how he's presented himself.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to try to honor what you've been presenting, you know, with all that.
So do you agree with what he did? So you're saying you understand it, but do you agree with what he did? Do you think it's okay, or do you feel like, all right, you done back down, so now it's you kind of look bad at this point?
Yeah. I think me personally, I don't really care, but I think in the profession where you're in, I think, you know, you can still follow through with it, but just be mindful of how you do it, I guess. I guess for him, he may have felt like he was going to go too far.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess that could mess up the dynamic because from what I know, they're friends in real life. So that could mess. So now you got to ask yourself, we're losing a friendship over because, you know, Kendrick said what he said, but I mean, I didn't really even take what he said as a true diss though.
Yeah.
Like not a malicious diss, but I think that's where maybe Cole may have started to go down that route and was like, wait, let me back up. Cause now you in front of the world, you got ego, you got all type of stuff in the mix. So it could be like muddy waters, I guess.
So I only ask that because then, you know, back to the kids, you say you gave, it's a competition.
Yeah.
Who can make A's and B's and who can make all A's. And then when you say all A's, you had a kid that said, you had one of the mentees that said, I can't do it. He gonna be, you know, I ain't gonna be able to achieve that. You know what I'm saying? So in a sense, those two are similar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you have, which okay, that's more on a professional level. With, you know, it is a professional level with the rappers. But then, you know, the kids now, he's creating a habit. When he feel like competition is gonna be too tough or he's not gonna be able to compete in any aspect of life, I'm gonna just say, nah, he got it because I know he gonna win. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the question that you asked, do I think competition is good? I do. I mean, because it helps build. It helps, and you said one is perspective, but it also helps build that character in a J. Cole type of situation. You have other kids that want to be rappers at this point. That want to be, you know, so they want to, they emulate you know, they look up to you in a sense. So now if they see if J. Cole, you know, you got Little Johnny looking up to you, and now you backing down in this competition. What you think Lil Johnny think about you now, or what's the image that Lil Johnny has of you at this point? You know what I'm saying?
But in that same light, though, right? So if you have two of the most influential rappers of this modern age going at each other, and one understands that he may be stepping into the realm of malicious nature with his rebuttal, right? How many rappers have we heard about getting shot and killed because of diss tracks? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be competitive because we can say, well, they being competitive, but you literally have somebody losing their life over lyrics. You feel me? So it's like, that's why I say it's a topic that like you have to really understand like the nuance behind it, because it's not like super black and white. Because in their case, you can make the argument that say, okay, yeah, just go at it. But if there are examples for many young boys that want to get to the rap game, it's like, well, we see that. And then we see how younger, you know, smaller artists really are dying or killing each other because of competition. So that's why I say it depends. It can be a good thing, but it's out of the nature you're working in.
And I like the concept that you're bringing up, because they're obviously this situation with them is deeper than we know. Obviously, there may be things unfolding that made they go like, all right, just getting out of hand. It can be backside, their parties going, or did he just seen something, which is ideally you can understand. For my point, it's the mindset of it though, because again, I think the mindset of when it comes to competition, I never shy away of saying how I feel about competition and saying that me playing sports, me being a part of a team sport all my life and how that wired me, even going to the day. So today I'm outside running. I woke up, so I didn't set my alarm this morning, and I woke up late. So the team the guys that I usually run with in the morning, they were already running. So I had to go still. So again, rerunning 5 miles. It was supposed to run 4, we ended up running 5. I get to there and they already ran. So now I got to look at myself like, do you still about to go out here and run? It's hard to run by yourself and give a say you run somebody and push you. Bro, I had to literally create a competition in my own mind with myself to go run the miles. And even with me in running them, there were multiple times where I wanted to say, okay, I'm just going to cut it short and just run 2 miles. And then 3, you know what I mean? I kept constantly at like each mile mark, I'm looking like, okay, I could just turn around. But I had to start like talking to myself and creating a competition with myself. Like, you going to let them boys run more than you? You get what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. There's no way you can in this run and not be able to send a clip in there, let them know that you ran the same thing they run at a better time. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's bred through constantly being a part of competition and understand what it pushes you. So competition at a certain point, it brings out the best in you. It shows you your strength and your weaknesses. You get what I'm saying? When you're able to be a part of competition, you're able to say, okay, this person is better at me. I need to get better at this. And this is where I'm good at. You get what I'm saying? So it shows you your strength and weaknesses. So we sit here and talk about SWOT analysis and all these different things. Competition puts you in a real life SWOT analysis when you're able to self-analyze yourself. So going back to what we're saying, when I asked the question, that is obviously I feel that competition is great for you. I don't really see the bad. So I see the bad side of competition, but again, my approach is not looking at it in a bad way. And again, that's why I said it's perspective. With the way I approach competition, I understand that I don't want nothing wrong to happen to nobody. I just want to win. And I think in order to reach a certain level, your focus has to be like, this is what I want. And again, this is not if it's harming somebody. I don't want to harm anybody. But yourself have to be so locked on where you're going that you can't really think about, well, if this, like, there can't be so many other layers to it. Well, is this competition? Is this going to do this? Bro, I just want to win. You get what I'm saying? We get into these professions into a sport to win. And I think we're taking, like, the world that we've catered, that we got into, it took away from winning. We started doing participation trophies, and we started introducing all these different things. Coming up, it was just winning, bro. Winning and losing. I think we get so far away from that.
But then, like, that's the thing. You're saying, like you just said, you want to win, but you never wish ill on anybody. Mm-hmm. It starts, everything, it should be no, like, anything new that I take this stance, but it's like, always take it to the spiritual level, because anything you do in the physical is going to have a spiritual, or an inner person that's really going to drive why you do what you do. So if you're going about it in a neutral, positive stance with competition, say, I just want to win, but I don't wish nobody harm. That's totally fine. But you got to understand what urge you. That's all I'm saying. It's like, you got to be mindful of what is sparking that spirit of competition, because sometimes it can be a fine line, especially when the competition gets going. Like when it's, game on the line or something like that, something big, like you're on 10. So it's easy to kind of slip past that threshold that can be a little bit gray sometimes, like saying, okay, am I willing to go a little too far to get this dub, or am I really going to stay on that straight path? And at the end of the day, if he better than me, he got me this time, but he gonna have to see me every day until I get that dub back.
So to that point, it's funny you say, am I willing to go the extra mile, bro? Oh my God, I'm saying right now, on the hill, down, on the field, man. Coach Taylor, he had a saying: if you're afraid of if you don't like competition, you're not worth the salt on your body as a man. You know what I'm saying? So at first, what do you even mean by that? I'm coming from Ocala, I'm in Tallahassee, and I'm playing college ball, and you say this to me. I like I'm okay with competing, but you're not about to put me against this 6 foot linebacker that's 220. Like, why would you do that? But I knew in order for me to prove myself to him, to the team, I had to face that giant. Mm-hmm. Now, I do know one-on-ones, it should be friendly in a sense. Not friendly, but I need to compete. But at the same time, am I going to try to block this man head up? And again, he's 6 foot and I'm only 5'7.5", 5'8", and he 220 and I'm 175? Am I going to chop block this man? Because to stop him from getting to, and I know I can potentially hurt this man. But at the same time, a dub is a dub at this point. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I did do it. Needless to say, I did chop block him, and Coach Taylor was fine with that. It's still one-on-one. Defender's supposed to, how to get around me, whatever, to get to the quarterback. But at the end of the day, I still had to, that's what I had to do. I wanted that dub. At the same time, there were times on those one-on-ones where instead of doing a chop block, I went ahead and blocked them one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? And even though they were bigger than me, I still had to psych myself out. I had to see that when I seen that I could do it, all right, I could use the technique that I was taught, and I can block this defender one-on-one. So that competition, it helped build something in me to let me know that I can do this the right way. And I shouldn't be afraid to compete against anybody. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's funny that y'all use what you were saying. Are you willing to go that extra mile to get a dub? Absolutely.
Because I mean, especially in the spirit of competition, like, and this ain't to put self down or anything else, just reality. Like, you're not going to win every competition, right? And so if a competition is meant to teach you something about yourself, then you got to honor that in that moment. You was not that guy. You wasn't. So that's why I'm saying, so when it comes to doing what it takes, so is it really you winning? I'm not saying yours, but like, is it you winning because, you know, you really just exhausted everything, but you kept it clean? Or did you win because you did something underhanded? That's the part that I'm like, all right, you know, because I can handle taking an L if I know I put everything out there and that person is just better than me. Even me personally, I would feel some type of way if I got a dog and I know I did something sneak to undercut. Because then it's like, you know, you can't even appreciate it truly. Not if you a genuine person. If you somebody that's just it don't matter to you. It's like, but to me, it would eat me up. Cause I'm like, man, I did not win on my own skill level. I had to do something to, you know, manipulate that. And so that's my thing. And I get, sometimes you get so wound up by competition where that little devil on your shoulder, like, hey, dog, just win.
What about the person that we deal with, young boys who say their dad wasn't in their lives? So they're competing with, you know, being a better man than they, you know what I'm saying? You're using that as a way, right, as a measure to be a better man, be a better father. You know, with me not having my biological dad in my life, I tell you no lie. Even at the times where when I knew that I was going to be a parent, when our Naya's on the way, in the back of my head is like, okay, if nothing else, I got to be better than he was. Even though I know, and it you know, and it played on my mind. It played, you know, the perspective, the way that I looked at it. How am I going to handle this? There were so many variables that took place at that point in time, but I knew in order for me to be better, in order for me to make a long-lasting memory, a long-lasting part in my daughter's heart, my kid's heart, I got to be better than he was. You know what I'm saying? So you have some people that, instead of looking at that as a competition or using that as a way to elevate themselves or help them compete and be better, sometimes they look at some of the competition. So the kid that said, nah, I know he gonna do better than me. You know what I'm saying? He automatically shut himself down. So he didn't even put forth the effort to even see how good of a person he could have been or how good of a you know, grades that he could make. People in life do that as well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Instead of competing for that position on a job, or sometimes with women, you know, we looking at, you know, men trying to what's the word they used to say? Men trying to go after a certain woman. It's two men after one woman. You know, if you see another man may have more money than you, okay, your charisma may be better, but because he got more money, his status better than yours, which you don't want to compete with him, but you still may come out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just certain things where I feel like competition, it is good. You know what I'm saying?
Even what you raised up about, you know, your dad and stuff like that. I mean, you know, my parents, they got a divorce when I was a kid, and, you know, there was things that my dad did that I didn't want to do. But what I found in maturing and getting older in life and looking at that situation and myself and everything in a whole, what I actually found was I never needed to compete with my dad. I needed to compete with me, because it's learned traits, learned behaviors, everything else, and parts of you. Because if you focus on that person, in this example, you end up, what I've seen in my own life is, if you constantly competing against this person to be better, you end up actually emulating some of the things that they did, because you got them in the forefront of your mind. Even subconsciously, it's like, well, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. But you're constantly thinking about it. So sometimes, you know, you'll think about it so much that you end up slipping into it even when you didn't want to. But when I learned to be like, in this case, I'm going to look at me, you know, and say, okay, what aspects of Miles Mechanical do I share with this individual? And how can I beat that? How can I sit there and compete with myself to be like on guard? So instead of going over here, I'm like, nah, you know what? Part of me would go over there, but I'm better than that part of me. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to do my things I'm supposed to. I'm going to sit there and combat myself every single day. I'm going to compete with myself. And you'll end up seeing that you end up not being like that individual or that thing that you didn't want to be a part of, because you're challenging yourself as a more individual level and taking responsibility of how, even though we may detest the things that somebody do,
Right.
again, if you're thinking about it all the time, even if you're just telling yourself, I don't want to be like that, you're still thinking about it. It's still consuming your mental space. And so just for me personally, I found out to be a little more healthy, I guess, to divert from that path, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I love that mentality, the me versus me. And even to his point, one of the things I was thinking about as he was saying it, sometimes even if you're in the scenario you gave, if your focus is that person, you're selling yourself short in that state, because all you're telling yourself, I just got to be better than that person.
Yeah.
And that's a low standard to put yourself at. You're saying, okay, because that's not a good example of who you want to be. So you're setting your eyes very low, because as long as you go here, you okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You should be looking at the best example you can think of or find, if it got to be on TV. You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, I got to be like this. Now I got to be better than somebody. I got to be like what I want to be like. And that's the example you're getting in the competition. Like he said, the me versus me, that's me all day. You know what I mean? I love you always compete with yourself, because that gives you a standard to what you're trying to look for when you're competing versus yourself, just piggyback on what he was saying. But another thing I was thinking about is, because we did bring up a lot of times what came up in the competition or the conflict that I could see is, I guess, the distinction of healthy competition and non-healthy competition. So my question to anyone who can answer this, so how does one in that competition, when it's heated, when you get that in that sense of, oh man, we right here, and man, I can do something snaky and put myself over the top. How does someone fight that? What helps somebody push back and being just 100% just true and not being foul when it comes to competition? How can one stay true? So right now, okay, so I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you a secret. So I need y'all to pause right now. Just a little secret from me to you. Like, subscribe, and comment. All right, make sure what you're doing right now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This whole podcast, if you haven't commented anything yet, make sure you're commenting. But talk about competition. Tell me, when is the last time you competed? What did you learn from the competition? I don't care what it was, but tell me, when has the last time you competed? What was the competition, and what did you learn? What did you gain from that competition? And let's talk about it. We'll be able to interact with you all with the comments, and we're going to keep this thing going, man. The EL2A Podcast, man, more podcasts are coming out. Y'all stay tuned. Just keep supporting us, all right? So until next time, people, we'll see y'all next week.